said hello to Kay and Katie. There you go. We got Ravel and Michelle and Renee. I love these rhymes here this evening. So the lines are filling up. And then let's see who else snuck in here. Anna. And several of you got on really early, and we love having you here. Well, thank you, Stacy. That's very sweet. Yeah. Okay, it is the top of the hour. So, Gregory, are you getting things set up on Facebook Live?
Yes, we're broadcasting on Facebook, and hold on, and I'll start the recording.
Okay. Hello on Facebook. Great to have you here.
And we are recording.
Okay. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome. Glad to have you here, whether you're listening live on YouTube, on Facebook, or just live with us this evening. Welcome to the LifeWave and X39 introductory program. I'm your host, Robin Blank Mascari, here in Bozeman, Montana, and we do these every Tuesday evening, and we have a rotation of doctors, which I love because we get to share wisdom from many different perspectives from healthcare practitioners that are sharing our products in their clinics, in their practices, and with their friends and family too. So this evening, what we always like to do is give a brief history of the company, LifeWave, a little bit about the founder, Dr. We have a doctor on the call tonight, but David Schmidt is our founder, CEO, and scientist inventor. And then we're going to talk about the technology, and I'll bring on Dr. Jeff Hubbard this evening. And then it's your turn. We like to open things up. So if you have a testimonial, we want to hear from you, because that's what makes a huge difference in other people going, oh my goodness, there's someone I need to share with. So please put your testimonials in the chat section. And if you have questions, you can also put them there. So when we open things up for your participation, know that that's where you get to participate. And remember that we're not here to diagnose or prescribe. We do not mention disease states. We only talk symptoms. So when you're asking questions, we thank you for keeping it very clean for compliance. So let's get things going here. First, I want to start out with, how did I end up here? I started as a customer. Some of you know that. I was involved in another company, and I had some very serious knee pain. I was bone on bone. I had had one knee replacement. I did not want to have another one. And I had been researching stem cell injections, and I discovered what I wanted. It was $12,500 out of pocket with no guarantee to handle my knee pain. And then one day I got one of those wonderful calls that we love to get from a friend who was thinking about me and said, I know you've been, having challenges, and there's a new technology out that activates your own stem cells with light. And I went, oh, that's going to get it. And so I ordered my patches, started using them, put them on C7, top of the spine is where it went. It's a little round, looks like the size of a quarter Band-Aid. And I went, okay, I'm willing. And a week later, the pain in my knee was gone. Like, I was in shock. And my doctors were in shock, because when they looked at my x-rays, they couldn't believe that I wasn't in excruciating pain. And so I continued on. And that was in November of 2018, before it was introduced to the public in January, when the worldwide tour happened. Well, by the end of February, I could not share. I'm just one of those people, and I know several of you are like that also. When you find something of value, you want to share it with people. It's not about the business. It's not about anything else. And feeling what I felt was a sense of responsibility to let people know about this historic breakthrough in technology that activates your own younger stem cells. Well, fast forward to today, and many thousands of people later, many people have gotten tremendous benefits. So I'm thrilled that we get to share this with you this evening. And for those of you that are brand new, let me tell you a little bit about the company LifeWave. It was founded by David Schmidt in 2004. And prior to LifeWave, David was on a government contract to create something to help the Navy SEALs who were in their little mini subs. And sometimes they have to be in there for days on end. And the contract was to help create something that would help them without stimulants or chemicals to stay awake. And sometimes they're up for days on end. And so he created this new technology that activated energy in the body. It actually activated fat that turned it into energy, and it was called the Energy Enhancer Patch. Well, things changed with the government because 9/11 happened and their focus on survival equipment had shifted. And we have some noise in the background, so I hope everyone is keeping quiet. Thank you so much. And then that patch, it came in this little patch. It got discovered by athletes because it enhances strength, stamina, and performance. And a major shift happened in the company when one day David Schmidt got a call from the women's Olympic swim coach, Richard Quick. And he said, David, 6 of my 8 swimmers did their personal best the very first time they used the Energy Enhancer Patch. And David was kind of shocked. And then it started seeing athletes all over with these little patches on. And then there was some controversy about doping. And they did all the tests and everything came out clean because these patches are non-transdermal. Nothing is going in the body other than a frequency of light. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. And then David, being an inventor, he's got over 100 patents and patent pendings, and he loves research. He's invested millions and millions of dollars in clinicals in the company. There's over 80 clinical trials. You can see them on the lifewave.com website. If you scroll down just a little bit, they're over on the right. If you're the kind of person that likes to read studies. One thing led to another, and David kept inventing. So the first phase of patches was really more symptomatic. So there was the energy patch, and then David noticed that people actually got pain relief. And so he tweaked the frequency a little bit, and out came the ice wave patch. And a vast majority of people get instant or rapid pain relief, which is very exciting in a safe, affordable, natural way. And then there was the sleep patch, and there's actually hospitals in Europe that use that instead of giving people sleep meds. So that was phase 1. Phase 2 became the anti-aging phase. Anti-aging is like putting the brakes on aging. It's very exciting. And then carnosine, eon, and glutathione were born. We're not here this evening to talk about all the different patches because we're here to talk about the star of the show. The star of the show came in phase 3 when David started focusing on regenerative science. And regenerative science doesn't just put the brakes on aging, it actually turns the clock back. And David had learned about this copper peptide called GHK-Cu, and we recommend everyone do their own personal research. If you're a healthcare practitioner and you're familiar with PubMed, go to PubMed. Or you can just go to straight Google and look up GHK-C and find out all the amazing things that that copper peptide does. It's actually referred to as the holy grail of health, healing, and regeneration. Well, David was able to crack the code that multi-billion-dollar companies were not able to crack. And that was how to activate that peptide, because one of the things it does, one of the many things, is it activates your own younger stem cells. And so I want to invite our doctor of the evening to come on and share his wisdom with you. But I want to, share a little bit about him, because I recently met this man and I was just touched, thrilled, and really blessed that he's part of our LifeWave community. Dr. Jeff Hubbard is an MD. He also has an MS in physiology. He's an MD in practice. He's a lecturer, founder, president, and CEO of Comedicare, which is an innovative health and wellness ecosystem that strives to remediate health disparities and tackle chronic illness here and abroad. And reading more about his company, I was so deeply touched. This is a man of passion with a huge heart of service. And before he founded this company, he envisioned an innovative platform for holistic healthcare delivery that focused on prevention, wellness, and providing superior healthcare to those that need it most. So he combines allopathic medicine, health, wellness, alternative modalities, nutrition, lifestyle modification, and public and community health from an educational perspective and supporting people. And he is amazing. I'm thrilled that we got introduced recently, and he's been with Lifeway for a while now and has integrated it into his practice. He's building his Lifeway business in many different countries in Africa and in the US. And I am thrilled to introduce everyone to Dr. Jeff Huckard. Welcome, Dr. Jeff. Where are you? Put your camera on. There he is. Hi there.
I'm doing excellent. How are you guys doing?
They can't answer, but they're doing great. And they're very happy to have you here. So let's get started with, as an MD, Dr. Jeff, why did you choose to get involved with LifeWave?
Well, it was kind of by happenstance, to be honest with you. A friend of mine, we've been in other network marketing businesses in the past, and she called me and she was like, "Hey, Doc, I got the winner. This is something that you got to see." And it's the normal conversation between people who've been in business in the networking capacity in the past. And, we kind of exchanged the normal conversation. Well, what's the product and how does it work? And, how can I get involved and those sorts of things. And so I was so impressed with what she was able to share with me in regards to stem cell technology that I drove over to her place, and we had a cup of tea, and we talked about how we could really utilize the business to change some lives. And she really felt that this was the vehicle to do so. And so that's honestly how I started to engage LifeWave and do my own due diligence and research and get comfortable with the technology and be able to explain it in a way that I felt like was in alignment with my profession. And at that point, I just started dibbling dabbling on myself. I'm always my own guinea pig. And I was just so impressed with how I felt that I started sharing it with some loved ones who I knew had some ailments that could be rectified. And they all, gave me some positive feedback as well. And here we are.
Love it. So you're sharing with your family and friends, and you're integrating it into your practice also. And what other things have you noticed in your practice when you're sharing it with your patients?
Oh, so many things. I mean, the aha moment that I had with the patches was that one of my business partners down in Houston, Texas, has several assisted living facilities. And so one of the residents was having some really difficult challenges with an ulcer on his leg, and they weren't able to get it to heal properly. And I think it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 to 5 weeks they had been working on trying to get this scar, this lesion, to reduce itself. And I said, well, hey, let's try the X39. I just got them in the mail. I said, this is a good opportunity. I understand that wound healing is one of the benefits of GHK copper peptide, and obviously stem cells are going to be beneficial for healing and repair of any tissue. And in just 48 hours, I mean, I got to Houston Friday evening, maybe 6 or 7, went directly over to the assisted living facility. We put the patch on the gentleman. And before I left Sunday afternoon, the scar, the ulcer itself had reduced maybe 6 or so centimeters. It was amazing. And it started to scab over. And I was like, wow, we're on to something here. This is really serious. So that's what kind of began to really get me motivated and really excited to do more.
Beautiful. So you did your due diligence before you got involved. You did some research, and we have a lot of people that are brand new that don't know anything about stem cells or anything about this technology. So I would love, and I know they would love, to hear from you of, briefly what, a lot of people hear stem cells in the news, but they don't really know what they are. So a little just basic on what are stem cells. And then if you can explain the technology that makes these patches so effective, that would be wonderful.
Sure, my pleasure. So pluripotent stem cells simply just mean a very primitive cell. It means that these cells are the predominant type as we're developing as an embryo. So that simply means that we can differentiate those pluripotent stem cells into three layers: the ectoderm, which is our hair, our skin, our eyes, nervous system, brains, central nervous; mesoderm, which is the middle layer. So that's more of heart, lungs, muscle, bone, soft tissue, renal system, etc. And finally, the endoderm, which is all of our GI. So, you know, your stomach, your liver, intestines, spleen, etc. So these cells are capable of differentiating themselves when in close proximity with these other cell types. So essentially, you can have a pluripotent stem cell that finds its way to the bone, or finds its way to the liver, or finds its way to, you know, a nerve cell. And it can help for that organ as a whole to redevelop and build, because it adds itself as a new functioning cell to that entity.
So if there's damaged cells, those stem cells are going to go regenerate those cells. Is that correct?
Exactly, exactly.
Okay.
And interestingly, what I believe is that because of GHK copper's influence on 4,192 different genes, it actually has a way by which to coordinate with your thinking and the needs that your body has. And so it kind of emphasizes certain areas of growth and development depending upon what's going on with your system.
That is that's what a lot of people don't realize, is it alters gene expression of over 4,000 genes. So let's move into, how does this patch work?
It's so cool. I mean, it's like we tease all the time. I tell other callers and people who I speak to about LifeWave that I feel like I'm in medical school again, because I'm just digging through all of this information. But essentially, photobiomodulation is the understanding of near infrared light. And that's actually 40% of our sunlight is infrared, near infrared light. And our body heat that we emit 24/7 is also on the infrared spectrum. And so that's the genius of Mr. Schmidt's technology, is that he harnesses our own body heat and the emissions of our own infrared light at certain frequencies. And so through liquid nanocrystals that are in the patch, they reflect certain frequencies of light back into the skin based upon what the effect that Mr. Schmidt wants it to have. And so essentially, guys, this stimulates a biochemical process in our skin that creates molecules and certain molecules that have been studied and determined to be therapeutic and beneficial. And so things like glutathione, things like carnosine, things like GHK copper peptide, these things have been studied on their own for their own efficacy. And what Mr. Schmidt has done is just harness that and raise the levels of those molecules in our body through the use of our own infrared light.
Beautiful. Thank you.
No
You did a wonderful job of explaining the technology, the photobiomodulation. And like we said earlier, it's a non-transdermal patch, so nothing's going in the body. So X39 is the newest patch. It got introduced to the world in January of 2019. Why is this patch so special?
Well, I think, you know, it harnesses that GHK copper peptide. And so, guys, as Robin mentioned, this is something that I would encourage each and every one of you to kind of do a little bit of research. If you just Google GHK copper peptide, you'll see the list of various different things that it does that are beneficial to the human body. So between that and the benefit of the stem cells, you have a really powerful patch. I mean, this is obviously the show pony and rock star, but it does so many different things to make you healthier. And so, as we know, as time progresses, our stem cells decline. And so I'm 38 next month. So mine is about 50% of normal. As you get about 60, 65, you're operating at about 10% of your normal stem cell activity. So anytime that you can raise your stem cell level, that's going to make a significant difference in the way that you feel. And so, for instance, what I notice is that I just sleep really good. I wake up, I don't need a cup of coffee. I don't feel like I'm drowsy or tired, or, sometimes I even get up before my alarm, and I'm energetic throughout the day. Here it's a little bit after 8 for me, and I'm still full of energy. I'm ready to go. I actually have another call to do at 9. So it just that I'm working at a very good pace in my mind, and I'm clear and focused.
So you've got great sleep, great energy, mental clarity and focus, and you're 38. I tell people I'm 97. What do you think?
I can believe it. So many people are showing before and after pictures, and it's just unbelievable how 6 to 8 months of the X39 makes somebody's skin look so different. It's amazing.
I tell people I'm not scared of the magnifying mirror in my bathroom anymore. Things definitely got better. They definitely got better. And then, my hair changed, my skin changed, my eyesight. This is one of my favorites. People love this one. My finger was stuck in this position for 20 years, and now it can do that.
Wow. Wow.
It's really cool. I know. We get to say wow a lot in this business. I have a little wow counter, because we got to get used to saying wow a lot. So one more thing before we bring on our participants, as an MD, and I know lots of people would love their doctors to learn more about this. What do you recommend people say to their doctors to have them be open to this technology?
Well, to be honest with you, it probably is not going to go over well. What I actually would do was print out a study on GHK copper peptide, on glutathione, or one of the clinical studies from the LifeWave website, and take that in with you the next time you go and see your doc, and just say, hey, doc, this is really important to me. I've been researching and studying this new company, and I'm really motivated about this technology, and I think you should know about it because I'm going to start wearing these patches. And come to the conversation with substance. And I think your doctor will receive that with a little bit more, what's the right word? Positivity, because I think a lot of times patients may bring in literature or something like that, thinking that the doctor is not knowledgeable. And so in many instances, the doctor looks at it and says, oh, I know about this, and throws it on the side of the desk. And, they don't really pay it close attention. So I think just make sure that you explain how significant this research is and that it's new, and that, they need to read it because they need to understand exactly what you're going to be doing and wearing these patches.
That's very, very helpful. Well, just fast forward a little bit on my story and what I did with my doctor. I did actually have to have a knee replacement because of some deformity that happened. And I had an accelerated healing. And I recently went back for my 3-month post-op, and the orthopedic said, you healed really fast. And he said, that scar isn't even going to show pretty soon. And I said, Doc, did you do your homework? And all I did was ask him to research GHK, copper peptide. And surprise, he did. And so he's a sports medicine guy, an orthopedic surgeon, and he researched, he goes, this is very intriguing. So as a doctor, the science, we're both saying the same thing. It's all about the science when you're dealing with scientists like yourself. So let's see, we have a few testimonials and then we'll open up for questions. And I think Patty, so remember everyone that we only talk symptoms, and we don't mention any of those, we don't name whatever that dis-ease state is. So Patty Levesque, I believe you're first, and you should have your mic opened. And what would you like to share this evening, Patty?
Okay, am I unmuted now?
You are, we can hear you just fine.
Great, thank you. Yes, I was introduced to X39 and I have them right there. And my very first day that I wore it, I experienced what I would express as being the wow factor because I've never experienced a wow factor with any kind of network marketing product in the past in my life. But I did with this particular one. And what I experienced is an energy that was a new energy of feeling good. And it's not an energy that you got from a Starbucks coffee or from a Red Bull or something like that. It was an energy that was like, oh, this is different. I like this feeling. And then what I really noticed, and this is day one, is that I had the ability to focus at work. And I have a tendency to flip. I start something and then I flip over and I start something else, and I flip over and start something else. And I identified that I had the ability to focus, and I had mental clarity to stick with something and complete it. And then I had overall sense of well-being with a kind of like I want to say that nirvana feeling, after you've meditated for a long time. And that particular day I had something happened that I would consider your typical emotional flare up, right? And I just kind of looked at that situation and went, oh, okay, well, that I just didn't get that big flare up that I had a habit of getting. So that X39 took the edge off. And then I had, as I wore it over time, I had chronic neck pain that, because I sit at a computer a lot and my shoulders go to my ears, that pain dissolved, gone. And then I had a shoulder problem from walking my dog. My dog bolted and pulled, there's a muscle there called the rotator cuff that was pulled, and 100% healed, like 100% healed. So that's enough for me.
My goodness, Wendy, you've had a lot. and the beauty that everyone should know, it just gets better over time. That's so wonderful. Thank you so much, Wendy. Guess what? We have another Wendy who actually has a question for you, Doctor. Dr. Jeff, where did you place the X39 for the lesion?
Oh, just right near the actual point of it was a little bit bigger than that, but just about 2 inches from there. And this was before I began to experiment with the different acupuncture points and locations, etc. So this was just me peeling and sticking and seeing if it actually did something worth commenting about, and it surely did. And if I can just add in, Patty, I used to play baseball, and my rotator cuff gave me all kind of problems. I used to have issues with sleeping because if I slept on it wrong, it would ache. And I've been on wearing X39 since about Valentine's Day religiously, and I can full range of motion all the way around. So I concur, it definitely can improve joint function.
Great. Are you playing baseball?
I used to.
No more.
Softball occasionally. I haven't played in a couple of seasons. I need to.
Okay.
Miss it.
Okay. So we have people that are loving what you're saying. They loved your explanation. Jason says, Dr. Jeff, you're a rock star. I agree. I agree. So does anyone have any questions or anything else? Let's see, there's someone else in the Q&A. Wendy said, thanks, that's all. So the chat is the easiest thing. Does anyone else have a question for Dr. Jeff? Or do you have a testimonial you'd like to share? We have a few more minutes before the bottom of the hour, but we'll continue sharing other things because Dr. Jeff, while we're waiting for someone else, I'd love you to share a little bit about the work you're doing in Africa and why did you choose to expand your business and sharing the patches in Africa?
Sure. So really briefly, I could talk about Africa a lot. My mother traveled to Africa for the first time. She got an opportunity with some diplomats from the United States who were traveling over to West Africa. Anyway, she fell in love, and subsequently I fell in love because she started taking me with her on her trips. And so anyway, I developed an affinity for Africa, and I always wondered, as a future doctor in training, why the healthcare infrastructure and hospitals and things, they didn't look like what I had experienced in America. And I always thought that that was something that I could potentially help with later in life. And so when I got my head wrapped around LifeWave, I thought, wow, healthcare infrastructure is not as important if we can distribute and create a network for the patches to start to help to prevent some of these chronic issues and things from happening in the first place. And so that's what really got me excited. And so currently we're in Ghana and Nigeria on the West Africa side. And we just got a connection in Nairobi and in Kampala, Uganda, on the east side of Africa. So hopefully those things blossom as I expect. And Jason has been instrumental with helping kind of get product approval and company registration in those nations. And so it's just been a really awesome effort. And we hope that we can change a bunch of lives.
I love it. And so much of your work is you do a lot of work in, prevention and health education. And so this fits in so well. And we have a question from Marcia, and she asked, let's see. Oh no, first we have Michelle. Well, wait a second here. There's another. Okay. This is Sarah. Sarah comes first, and then there's a few more after that. So Sarah is asking, can a pregnant woman use X39?
So, I mean, you definitely can. There's no adverse effects as a part of your umbilical tissue. Actually, that's where most of stem cells are harvested for our, traditional sort of stem cell therapy and injections, et cetera. They come from umbilical blood or from the umbilical tissue or placenta tissue. So there are no adverse effects with this patch. Your body uses it as it needs to. The only issue that there might be is when a patient is actively having chemotherapy treatment. And so that kind of opposes the nature of the chemotherapy. So you don't want to use it at that point, but everything else goes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And Marcia's asking, because the patches are so beneficial, why only 12 hours on and 12 hours off?
So the thinking with that is that your body, you don't want your body to get accustomed to the frequency. It will decrease the responsiveness to the frequency if you leave it on 24/7. So there's a couple of schools of thought about that. I started off wearing them as much as I could because I was just so excited. And then I started to understand more about the technology and more about photobiomodulation and specifically why you want to make sure that you have these windows of time. Now, the caveat to that is each patch has its own frequency. So you can wear certain patches during the day for a daytime regimen, and you can wear certain patches in the evening for a nighttime regimen. And as long as you don't wear the same patch for the extended period of time, you should be okay.
Beautiful. We got a few more questions. Are you okay sticking around for a few more minutes, Dr. Jeff?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. Okay. Judy's asking, what would you suggest for ringing in one's ears?
I like to put the X39 right back here on the mastoid process, right behind the ear on the affected side. And we've had a few callers on another channel for LifeWave that have had those same symptoms, and they've had some improvement in that by wearing the X39 there.
Okay, well, thank you for that. That's we've heard a lot of people say that. Some people put Eon in the same place. So try and see what works, And then our last question from Stacy, do you have any thoughts or suggestions for a hurt finger that gets stuck when the finger closes in a fist? Actually, I can't get my middle finger to completely close. Worse in the mornings.
Okay. It kind of depends. There's a lot of things going on. One thing that I like is just to have your immune system working at its peak, and that would be wearing glutathione. And, our immune system is responsible for going in and handling damaged tissue any sort of inflammation or swelling or pain for that matter kind of is associated with the immune system. And so glutathione helps to regulate the function of the immune system. So that's a great. Also, Eon is excellent as far as the anti-inflammatory principles that it has. And, you know, X39, it's almost like you can't go wrong with X39. You can always wear that. So, you know, the question would be where exactly to put them. And so the issue with your hands and pain and issues or swelling with your hands is that we wash our hands so frequently, especially now that we're in the pandemic. And so you can't have patches on your hands if you're going to be washing them all day and using hand sanitizer. So you kind of have to figure out a caveat to that, which might be just to patch yourself at night on your hand at night and leave it unpatched during the day, or patch your wrist. So you can patch anywhere, either on the pinky side or on the thumb side. And then just about 3 finger widths down, about right there, you have a really good pericardium 6 is an awesome stimulator for a lot of different stuff for your hand and your forearm. So perhaps that could work as well.
Well, thank you. And you've got a whole bunch of new fans here, Dr. Jeff. they want to make sure you're going to join us again. Will you come back another Tuesday?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. It's been great having you this evening. And thank you all for joining us. If you're a guest tonight, please get back to the person who invited you. And we're thrilled to have you join and show up every week, all of you. And thanks for showing up and being here with us. And Dr. Jeff, wonderful to be with you tonight. So at this time, we will complete our call. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Good to meet everybody.
Thanks, Dr. Jeff. You are a rock star.
Oh, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.